Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yes, yes, yes. We are here for another Water Cooler
Woo,
Wednesday.
woo, woo.
Yes, yes. So, welcome everybody to another episode. My name is Dione Branch, and I am with Allure Dream Homes, brokered by EXP. And I am so happy to be here for us today to talk about real estate, of course,
Of
right?
course. What
Right.
else?
But today we're going to talk a little bit about we're talking about roles. And so the attorney, real estate attorney, and in
Yeah.
Chicago, Illinois, we actually use a real estate attorney for most of our transactions. And
Yes.
so today we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, hey, with me, who I got with me?
Hey, everybody. It's Lisa J. White, House Money Mama, a licensed mortgage loan originator, Illinois, Indiana, Georgia, all of them. Woohoo. And tonight's conversation is really important because parts of the real estate transaction that people can sometimes overlook um, is one of those things that you don't think about it until it's a problem. And then you need them.
Right.
Like, I need to talk to an attorney. But a real estate attorney is not just somebody who's there for drama and disaster. Really, in a lot of cases, I know, well, Matt, I think is great with this, but they really help protect your money. They protect your rights. They protect your timeline. I can't tell you how often I get those emails that say, okay, we're coming to the end of attorney review. Okay, we're coming up to the end of the contract. Okay, like they keep you things going. So they protect a lot. They do a lot of protecting the things for you. So we're
Yeah.
gonna talk
Yeah.
about that today.
Yeah. So, all right, today we're going to let's talk about what does the real estate attorney's job, like really what is their job? So, let's start with the basics. All right. So, a real estate attorney helps review, explain, and protect the legal side of the transaction. I think those are all important.
Yes, review and explain what you gonna tell me what it means too.
Right, exactly.
That's
So,
not
right. So they can review it before or after you sign it, to help you with going through the process. They help the buyer and the seller understand what they're actually agreeing to, right?
yeah.
So a lot of times, you're signing these documents. I think sometimes people just sign and they really don't even understand. I think we have a kind of like a habit of doing that, where we sometimes we do need to pause a little bit and get an
Yeah.
understanding exactly what's going on. So that they can definitely help with the title issues,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of times when a property, who is it actually owned by, and switching that title. The last thing you want to do is buy a house and the title does not come over to you. So that's the last
Ooh,
thing you want
I
to do.
would
You're
not
spending
be happy about that.
Right. You're spending lots of money in order to make sure that you have the proper titles afterwards. And like then you got the proper closing documents. And so Illinois attorneys are really like a normal part of the process,
Yep.
so we definitely do have Illinois attorneys.
Right. But a lot of people think that the lender, the realtor, and the title company are the ones that are handling everything. But really, the attorney has his own role, his or her own role, because we have males and females that are attorneys. But as a lender, I'm focused on the loan itself, the numbers of the loan, things like that. The realtor is focused on the property, the purchase and
Mhm.
the negotiating of part of the process. And then the title company is focused on like closing logistics, and they do actually part of what they do is looking up title for
Right.
encumbrances and things like that. But the
Mhm.
attorney is focused on the legal part, like the actual legal protection, the legal interpretation. Y'all remember when we was in school, we had to learn about the different branches of government.
Right. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
segment puts the law together, they write the law, another segment interprets the law. Yeah. So, well, I guess the attorney is on the interpretation side. That's what they do. But that means that they can catch language in the contract that a lot of times as regular consumers, we may not fully understand.
Yeah.
We may think it means one thing, but legalese actually means something else. We call it jargon, but it's when you talk about legal jargon, you don't want to play with that because you could be signing something that you really shouldn't be.
That you
But
know.
an
Right.
attorney, a seasoned attorney, they would catch it because
Gotcha.
they would
Yeah.
understand what it really means.
Right. So, in simple terms, the attorney is not replacing the realtor. Okay.
Oh wait, on the right side, there we
Exactly.
go.
Right. The attorney is not replacing the lender. Exactly. And they're there to add a legal layer of protection. That's
Yeah.
what their job is, right? So they help make sure all the paperwork is matching up to the deal that you believe that you're actually making.
Right. Yes, because it's no fun to come back and read the contract and say, wait, I didn't know I agreed to that.
Right. Well, I thought we were doing this. And so a lot of
Haven't
times,
you heard that before as a
yes,
realtor?
yes. I thought we were doing this. I thought we were doing, and that's the important, that is really the important part of attorney because it's there in writing. You're seeing it, you're agreeing to it, you're signing off on it. And so
Yeah.
now you've gone through all those different steps. She's like, okay, okay, I do understand that I'm signing off on accepting this house that has an older roof,
Yeah.
things like that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Or
Right. So
I'm
you,
buying the property as is. People don't seem to really know what as is actually means.
yeah, yeah. So I thought they were gonna do some work. No, we said as is. You signed
Right.
off on as is, right? So
That's what you agreed to.
yeah. So when do we need a real estate attorney?
Do you need an attorney?
Yeah, yeah. So one of the big that's the biggest question that's asked all the time. Like, you know, like Lisa said, what Lisa?
Do
Do you
we need an
exactly. It is those situations. The answer is yes. Right.
attorney? Right.
Especially
And
in
emphatic,
Illinois.
y'all heard that? That was an emphatic. My grandma was saying emphatic, yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. Because I've had a lot of times where I'm doing a transaction and some people feel like, well, they don't need an attorney. Well,
Mhm.
I've done it before and we didn't have an attorney. That's probably a different state. So please understand that because you don't have an attorney doesn't mean that the other side isn't going to have an attorney. And
Mhm.
so now you're
That's true.
really at a disadvantage because you're not experienced, and I am not experienced to be an attorney
Attorney.
either,
Right.
right?
I'm
So
not
that
either.
right. So right.
So don't
And
look
so
over here.
right. So that's definitely a big deal. And we're talking about Illinois. In Indiana, it's a different. The title company
Yeah, the
does
title
them,
company.
but
Yeah.
right. But in Illinois, we use attorneys. It's an attorney state. So,
Right.
um, so
And I think that's just I want to hang on that just a little bit more because I think that's a really, really good point. If you're at a huge disadvantage if the other side has an attorney, but also you're just at a huge disadvantage because of the fact that as professionals, we're licensed professionals. I'm licensed as a mortgage loan originator. Dion is licensed as a real estate broker. Okay.
right.
However, our licenses only allow us to function in a certain capacity, and that capacity is not a legal one. So if something comes up that's potentially a legal issue, we cannot advise you.
Yeah.
We can't
And
tell
I
you yay or nay. I mean, we'll probably even stay away from what I would do is we probably wouldn't even say that because even that can get to be dicey and misconstrued. Not to say that you all would take us to court, but if it ever happened, it can be misconstrued in court as being advice, as us giving you advice, legal advice, and we can't do that.
and we can't do it. Yeah. So
Mhm.
It's important to know, especially in Illinois, when you're working against another attorney and trying to determine just different things. So it's like, well, doesn't the title company do that? And they're like, yeah, the title company does do that, but they don't do this and that, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you want the that only, go ahead and be risky. Go for it, right? So
Gotcha.
but what do we need the attorney for? So you need it for when you're buying a house,
Yeah.
when you're selling a house,
Yep.
when there's a contract change, or the terms change, right? So
Hmm.
we got to go back and renegotiate things like that. If there's some title issues,
Yep.
um, if there's a estate sale, divorce sale, or inherited property,
Yep.
right? So
Because there's
those are
legal implications for all of that stuff. All of those events can trigger some legal implications.
right. Yeah, they can definitely be messy, right? So those are
Yes.
those are the ones that you really need someone to assist you with, and that's the majority of what we're handling here.
Hmm.
And so we always do advise, Lisa and I both advise that you have an attorney. We've said it a couple of
Absolutely.
times.
I would say you especially need a real estate attorney if there's anything unusual, anything unclear, disputed, emotionally charged in the transaction, any of those scenarios. If there are last minute changes, that's a big, to me, I actually would call it a red flag because it's actually the same reason why we have TRID now. TRID is, well, I won't go into too much detail, but it makes you have to wait before there are certain things that you can do within the loan transactions. Like if there are changes on a person's, cash to close, things like that,
Mhm.
we have
Mhm.
to give you a CD at least 3 days ahead of time to give you time to look at it so you know what the numbers are expected to be. So, same thing with any kind of real estate transaction. If there's any last minute changes, repair disagreements, occupancy concerns, title clouds, liens, like with IDOR, Illinois Department of Revenue,
Yeah.
or IRS, probate, or even mechanical liens. I'm sorry, not mechanical, mechanics liens. Because if
Mhm.
somebody did work on a
Working.
property and they didn't get paid their full money, they can actually put a lien on against the person's house. So yeah,
Yeah.
any of those things can cause confusion about what the contract really requires, and that's not the time for you to guess. At that point, you want to know, okay, what are my rights? What are my responsibilities? What are my options? What
Yeah.
you need to do. That's when you want to have somebody who's qualified, who's seasoned, who understands how things really work, so they can give you the advice that you legally need.
That you need. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, right? Sometimes the deals they start out so smooth, Lisa. They be like smooth as butter.
Smooth as butter, right?
Smooth as butter. And then next thing you know, it's like, wait, what happened
What's going on here?
right,
Some bumps in this road.
right, what happened? What happened? Oh my God. How did we turn left just so
Right.
quickly?
Let's slow this one down.
Right, right. And to be honest, I'm just right there right now. The other realtor on the other side said everything was going so smoothly. It was. It was. Until your client did not disclose something.
But it can
And it was caught.
happen.
Then it was caught. And it's now created an issue.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
My clients just want to be in the house so quickly because they've already been out of their own home, and so they want to be in a new home. And
Yeah, nobody likes to be in
unfortunately,
limbo. Right.
right, but sometimes you how bad you want to be in it doesn't mean that you want to take on the issues that may come with it.
Yeah.
So even as a realtor, I have to respect it. And the attorney has stepped right in and has submitted, a request to the other attorney, for more information. And so
Yeah.
it's very important. Yeah. So, right. Maybe the close date is being pushed around. So sometimes, you have this, extension. I need another extension. I need another extension. I need another extension. Sometimes at some point the seller's attorney has to say, okay, we've had enough. We had too many extensions.
Yeah,
And
7 extensions is plenty. I think we're done.
yeah, exactly. Right. We don't want to talk about our 90-day close, but
Right. Please don't.
everything doesn't always go how we want it to go. And so,
That's true.
unfortunately, but the good thing about it is having a great team behind it. So, even though, Lisa has her 60-day close behind her, which she's good for, but unfortunately, there could be that one in a bunch that which we've
One, yeah,
recently had that was a
that breaks
literally
that breaks the whole reputation that I have built up. You just messed up all my numbers. So, 17, 12, 17, 6, Oh,
right.
very good. Wait, 93? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hold your
What
horses.
happened
Why?
here?
Right. Why? 93, right? But
Right.
unfortunately it happens. Thank goodness we had a good seller that was willing to, accept the changes and
Yeah.
the bumps that we had along the way.
Yep.
And oh my God, we had such a great attorney. Kudos to Matt that
Matt was
did
phenomenally awesome. That
right.
was,
The
yes.
like did the math. He was mathing when we
He
couldn't
was
even
mad,
math no more.
right? I was like, Matt, you sure you want to be an attorney? I would love if you would join my team
His
on the
math was
lending
mathing.
side.
Right. So we just want to say that sometimes it does, you need that attorney just because of the little different
Yeah.
conflicts that may come around. And
Yep.
right. So
I've even had
definitely.
it where people want to stay in the property, like after closing, don't want to
Yes.
vacate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like you can't do it, but it's a way to do it.
Yeah. And it's important. One of the things Lisa, mentions is when you have an FHA loan and people want to be stay in the house, especially like mostly see this in multi-unit properties, right?
Hmm.
Where the person, like, you gotta go. But, a notice needs to be submitted to the tenant to let them know that they have to go and they have so many days in order to
Hmm.
to leave the property. So
Hmm.
very important that you have an attorney around for just different things like that. So
Absolutely. Yep.
let's talk about, they call it the attorney review period. Right. And
Okay.
so attorney review period, that normally it's like a major part of the transaction, and it normally takes place in the beginning of the transaction. So
Yeah.
when after you put down your earnest money, and you are so you have an executed contract, and now you are in what's called attorney review period. And the earnest money kind of solidifies like your contract. It's like that stamp that says, okay, yes, we are under contract. All
Yeah.
right. And during that period of time, from the time that the attorney gets the contract, and then there's a certain amount of days that we are under what we call attorney review period. And
Hmm.
so during this time, you as a buyer, you're going and you're getting a home inspection report, and getting that report back. Typically, we have 5 days to do the inspection, and then we send it back to the other attorney with your request. And
Hmm.
so this is where the attorney takes is a good part of that, because besides, just your request, there's a lot of other legal jargon that goes on during this time. So there it's reviewing of the contract, making some changes to the wording on the contract. They discuss all of this during that time.
Mm-hmm.
They request clarification. They propose modifications. All of this is normal during this time
Yeah,
of the attorney review period.
absolutely. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean the deal is falling apart.
Not at all.
Yeah, because it can seem, to somebody who's not accustomed to that, going through that kind of process, that could seem like a lot. Like,
Hmm.
what are we doing this? Did it mean I'm not going to be able to get the house? And I can
Right.
see how people would feel that way, but this is the normal part of a real estate transaction. So you just, go with it. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings, especially for first time buyers, is that they hear the words attorney review and they assume something is wrong. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, why are we in a return or review?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's again, it's the normal part of the transaction. The attorney review is really just part of the standard process. It gives everybody an opportunity to clean up language, address concerns, make sure that everyone is aligned before moving deeper into the transaction. So if you're gonna have issues and problems, let's take care of them right up front. That's what the attorney review process is for. And also your earnest money is protected during that time, right? Because
Yeah. I
if
was going to mention that.
oh,
Hmm.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you'd rather know now.
Yeah.
Why you can still get your money back.
Right, right. And like Lisa said, I was gonna mention it, right? Like during this attorney review period, there's like two times when you can get your earnest money back where it's really, like Lisa said, protected. So it's during the attorney review period while you're having the home inspection and you're deciding whether you want to continue and move forward. So
Hmm.
say for instance you find out the house has, the sewer line is damaged and coming up in the house, or the foundation is cracked. Yeah, just things like that maybe the seller didn't even really know that was happening with their home, but that's why it's important again also to have a home inspection, right?
Yes.
So because even if you're purchasing the house as is, I would say but no, we're going to have a home inspection because you want to know what's going on with the house. And during that attorney review period, that's your
Hmm.
time that you can say and get your earnest money back with no problems. I decided that I do not want to continue with this transaction. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
mhm. The other time you could get your earnest money back, because I mentioned too, is also if your lender denies your loan.
Tonight's alone. Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
And you have to give it back
And
because
most of
that's
that
not your
time is
fault.
the denial of the loan is because you didn't share all your information with her in the beginning. So
Right. Because if you tell me everything up front, we ain't going in front of an underwriter if I think we're going to get a denial. Right.
right.
So, yeah, that's how we do it.
Right.
That's why communication is so important.
Yes, it is. Right. And then, like Lisa said, it's not a time to panic, right? The deal's not going under or anything. It's a time of communication. It's a time of going
Mhm.
back and forth, making sure everything is how you want it to be. And it's a little ping pong in the beginning. And then it actually it can prevent the bigger problems, right, from happening later on in the within the transaction. So
True. That's a
um
good point. Yep.
right. So it's better to clarify earlier than to argue later on. Right.
Right. That way
Mhm.
everybody's on the same page. Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. 'Cause you don't want to discover at the 11th hour that the two sides were not on the same page. Like, I thought we was doing this. No, I thought we was doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got
Okay,
her
sorry.
finger
Go
pointing to
ahead.
All right. Well, so how's the attorney help buyers?
Hmm.
Yep, yep, yep. Let's talk about the buyer side. So
Okay.
buyers can benefit from the attorney in several ways, reviewing the purchase contract. We kind of talked about that, explaining the legal terms,
Yeah.
Helping negotiate the inspection issues.
That's a
Just
big
kind of
part.
mentioned. We just mentioned those. You typically during that time, you pick the major things. Like a home inspector is going to give you a list of 30 different things in your home inspection.
Or 50.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's not for you to request all of those items. You really need to look at it and say, what are your major 3 or 4 the issues that you may have? You might have a little bit more, but start out with your top 3 or 4. See if those are all that you really need to be able to move forward in the transaction. So,
Yeah.
once we get those, we send them over to the attorney, and the attorney sends them over to the other attorney, right? They review the title concerns, right? So, like we said, a lien. Last thing you want to do is purchase a house that has a lien, a IRS lien on it that somebody missed, right?
Yeah.
Now you can't even sell the house because the lien is still on the house. You
Right.
can't
What
do
are
anything with
you gonna
it. It's tied to the house. So
do?
yeah, so you don't want to have to do that. And then they make sure the closing documents are consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Very important, right? And they're helping if the seller fails to perform,
They
right?
don't do their
So
part. Yeah.
yeah, so they have some key issues, key things that they help out with.
They do. Yep. Buyers a lot of times are really excited, sometimes nervous, moving really quick. An attorney can actually kind of slow down the legal part just enough to make sure the buyer understands what they're signing, what the deadlines are, why they matter, what risks exist, and then what remedies might be available if something were to go wrong.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot. I don't want to go. I don't want to go through a transaction without an attorney because I believe they do cover a lot. And
Yes.
for the first time home buyer, there's so many moving parts already.
Right.
Um, right. So we got. Oh my goodness. Right. We talk about all these things every week, right?
Every
So
week. Yeah.
you're buying, right? We,
Yeah.
we start out with the pre-approval, right? We got the offer, then you got your earnest money, then you got the
Mm-hmm.
home inspection, then you got the appraisal,
Yep.
then you got the loan conditions and
Mm-hmm.
closing prep. All of that is in the existing transaction right now, right? And so then that's where the attorney comes in and helps make all of these things kind of go smoothly, right? So
Yep.
it's very important to have an attorney on your team to help help you feel less overwhelmed. Yeah.
Right. Because
Mhm.
something that buyers need to understand is that not every issue is a mortgage issue. So again, like we kind of piggyback of what we mentioned earlier, that there's a legal question about ownership, contract performance, title defects, easements, post-closing occupancy, legal responsibility for repairs, and different things like that. I can't negotiate any of that stuff for you. That has to be an attorney.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely, definitely good to have an attorney on the buyer side. So what about the seller side, right? Like, hey,
That was need attorneys too.
exactly. Like, don't leave me out. Wait, I can
Right.
move. So it's not just for buyers conversation,
That's
right? The
right.
sellers need it too. They want to review the sales contract and help respond to the returning review letters, with the review requests that are going on. They address
Mhm.
any title issues because I didn't know I had a title lien on my title.
Right, yeah, yep.
Ain't nobody told me
Didn't nobody tell me.
that.
Yep,
So they're gonna help resolve the liens. They're gonna do payoff concerns. Make sure they crunch those numbers and make sure you getting exactly what you're supposed to get at the
mhm.
at the end of the closing. Do I have all my money? Right, right,
Better have
right.
my money. Oh, sorry.
Exactly. Don't get us no copyright issues. So don't,
I didn't
don't
say the
be
first word of the line, so we're good.
right, right. Handle inherited properties, navigate the divorce or the estate sale situations. Oh, the estate sales, the
Yeah,
brother and sisters are not talking to each other because that happens a lot.
that
And
happens a lot. Yeah,
right, and
unfortunately.
right, and we all feel we deserve money from mama's house, right? So,
Mhm.
and so somebody has to be the guy, the person that helps with the situation, you know. So it's definitely difficult. And then to review the post closing possession
Yep.
agreement, right? Like, how we gonna get this house? Like, we gonna close on closing day. You gonna give me the keys. I'm gonna
Right.
walk away,
Right.
and we gonna be all good,
Right.
right?
Right. And the
Mm,
agreeing to what's going to be done before you leave, so to help protect the seller from making costly missteps, because that can happen. We don't want that. We want the sellers to be in a good position too. It's a lot. They have People think that sometimes people only look at things from, like their perspective, but you're not, as a buyer, you're not the only person that has a vested interest or something to lose, in the transaction. Oh, Ma put up earnest money. Well, maybe they fixed the house, or maybe they needed to get sold by a certain time, and now you taking longer, so now they got to make another mortgage payment, but they already have a mortgage payment because they have a new house waiting on you to buy this one. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it's different things that people a lot of times only think of things from their perspective, but
right. Hmm.
sellers and buyers both have, a level of risk. That's, some skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes the sellers assume I already own the home, so this should be simple, right? Right. Simple can be complicated,
Simple
right?
can be complicated.
Especially if we talk about those heirs, that are
Yep.
involved,
We
right?
mentioned
Yeah,
tenants, we mentioned
right.
that because you talked
Oh
about
my God.
multifamily. Yep.
Yep, yep. We talk about the old lien on the property for
Hmm.
that's been there that you thought was gone. So, and I think a good one is the property boundaries.
Yeah. Because
Some
they don't even do surveys. Like, most of the transactions we have, we're not required to have a survey. And if it is in the package, it's probably pulled, from something old, right?
hmm
Um, but sometimes there can be boundary issues, just like you said. People don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So my photographer was just talking about how investor he paved the driveway of a house that he had rehabbed.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. So the investor paved the driveway and it was kind of like a shared driveway, whereas
My
um
house is like that.
right,
The house next to me is the last house for the block of the 5700 block, and I'm the first house of the block for the 5800 block. So actually, our driveways are like literally right next to each other.
next to each other.
I drive
So
on their driveway all the time.
right. So the investor paved a little bit over of the boundary line
Okay.
and the old homeowner, the neighbor,
Right,
sorry,
the
the
neighbor,
neighbor
right.
says, tear it up, redo it, or you need to pave my driveway too.
Oh, wow, really? Oh my goodness. Okay. It
So
was that serious, huh? I would have been
it
like,
was,
"Oh, that's great. Let me put some what's that stuff? Let's seal coat this real quick."
no, they wasn't having it. They wanted a new driveway
Or
too.
they
If
want a
you
new
go
driveway, right?
right, if you're gonna tear up that driveway and you're gonna encroach on my driveway and give them a little extra driveway,
Yeah.
you need to fix my driveway too.
Yep. Yep. I'm just playing around, but yeah, I don't blame them. Unfortunately, that's property. You on my property.
Right, you taking over my property. So it's important because I'm sure his attorney is trying to help negotiate this.
Right.
I don't know how much the neighbor, because it doesn't even have to be the buyer and the seller that's
Hmm.
interfering in the deal, right?
Yep.
Right, it could be the neighbor, and I don't know how the neighbor, somehow the neighbor even has enough control that the transaction can't continue on. I think they went to the city, and the city has a citation now on the thing. So you want to sell the property without a citation, right? Like
Wow.
just different things like that can happen during the transaction. And it's so great to have an attorney that can help with
Yeah. So at that point, having an attorney involved can help resolve the issue more efficiently than trying to untangle all of this stuff between phone calls and people that's frustrated and not knowing what's what and who's who and where's where. So yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
We are over actually.
Yeah.
So I don't know because we still had some more points. Do you want to finish this a different like finish it up on another segment? Maybe we can use this when we bring our attorney person
Attorney in.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be bringing our attorney in, and so we can discuss with them a little bit more about what happens during the attorney process. He might be
Yeah.
able to share some experiences that he's had in the past, but not give any names. They have the
Right.
and definitely
Absolutely.
to kind of help share with you the importance, because sometimes when the people ask me, I think I cringe when they go, do I really need an attorney? Yes,
Like, do
you
you
do.
really want to do this without one? I don't
Right.
think so.
And
Right.
my last client that was very determined to do it without an attorney, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
no, they're the other side's gonna have an attorney, and it's really important. His first deal did not go through because we had that left turn.
Uh-huh.
Right, tenant, person in the property doing the final walkthrough, work
Yeah.
requests weren't done. So there's always something. And then so we backed out of that deal and actually got a different house. But in
Mhm.
the end, what he said to me was, I'm so glad you made me get an attorney.
Right. And
So
you should have just said, hmm. I'm just playing.
right, and I said, "You're welcome."
You're welcome.
Right, so
That's what I do. I'll make
right,
things go smooth. If
exactly,
you all just
exactly.
listen to what we say, it can actually go relatively smoothly. I mean, we don't have control over every segment of the transaction. There can be things that come up, but I can guarantee you when things come up, we gonna have a plan of attack for how to handle it. We
Yeah,
will
I
have
had
it.
to. Yeah.
So yeah.
So looking to get pre-approved, because we always tell you the first part of the transaction is to get pre-approved, right? So give Lisa a call next to lending. She can definitely help you with getting pre-approved. She is licensed in more than just Illinois, and so she can help you with getting pre-approved for lending. All right.
All right.
And my name is Dion as well, and I can help you other side. I can help you find a home in Illinois and now in Indiana. I'm so excited about being able to help you in Indiana. And if you want to look outside of Illinois or Indiana, I have lots of partners that can help you there as
Mhm.
well. So don't worry, you always will be covered. So
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Well,
mhm.
thank you everybody for coming. We're gonna have to
Thank
finish this up.
you.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Bye.
Bye.